Ducks fans, are you ready? You are listening to the Ducks and Pucks podcast. This is the #1 home for Anaheim Ducks talk and analysis. Here we go.
Welcome to the show. This is your host, Mike Walters, along with my co-host, Eddie Richard, and we are back. And the comeback kids are back. The Anaheim Ducks, holy crap, man. When we finished our last show, they beat Boston, came back and won that game, and they continued to win on the road in comeback fashion. The Ducks went 4-0-0 on that road trip, and then they won some more games at home, and then unfortunately they just lost to Pittsburgh. But, overall, the Ducks have been playing pretty crazy lately. So we're going to talk about some of those games, how the Ducks have done. Some of the other stuff we talked about as far as Carlson and how much he's playing now. Some concerns about Zegras. We got a lot of fan questions as well and some league news as well. So we'll get all to that in a second. Eddie, how you rolling, man? How you feeling?
Tired, really tired. Work has been really crazy, and a new software dropping and everything. So I've just been exhausted, but glad to be on the show, glad to knock it out. I'll be flying away this weekend to Colorado, so I'm looking forward to a nice little break away from everyday life and reality. Hang out with some nice friends, drink some nice Mile High beer. And I don't know if I mentioned the last show, the buddy I'm seeing I met playing hockey is a really good friend of mine. Last time I went to his house was about 2 years ago for his Halloween party, and that Friday night we ended up getting completely hammered at 3 in the morning playing chess. Yeah, the board game chess with their dog. So it's like his wife comes downstairs like, why are you guys so quiet? And him and I are just like intense battle in chess drinking IPA. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. As far as drinking, Mike, I'm with my Pink Whitneys right now and a tall can of Happy Dad. Just one tall can too. See, I'm limiting myself today. What are you drinking?
I went back to my usual. I'm doing a little bit of vodka Red Bull. Yeah, my usual. I've been working like crazy too, like you talked about. I just got back from Texas. Saw a bunch of family out there. It was a really, really good time. Saw my Rams get their ass kicked by the Cowboys, but whatever. It was great. I had never been to AT&T Stadium. That place is massive. Had a really good time. Never been to Texas, first time, so that was great. Came back, been working a lot, just like you, Eddie. That's why we've been doing the show kind of every couple of weeks. We've just had some crazy stuff, and even this week, us trying to schedule the show has been crazy. So we're going to knock it out and kind of get to some of the stuff right now and break it down. But man, with this team, I'm just super excited with this team right now. The stuff that's been going on. Like we said, we were recording when they were on the road against Boston, and they ended up pulling out that game. And then they played the Flyers and the Penguins on the road trip and won those games as well. They really took it to the Flyers and that game. Vetrano with another hat trick this season. He's got 2 so far. You had Zegras finally getting a goal, and we even saw Johnston and D'Lo fight it out in that game. So what a way for the Ducks to win that game. Eddie and I always joke about this Ducks-Flyers game because a couple years ago Eddie covered the game, and every time it seems the Ducks and the Flyers play an early game on the weekend, the Ducks get destroyed. But that was not the case in this one, Eddie. The Ducks ended up giving it to the Flyers and continuing the winning streak on the road.
Yeah, and just to kind of go back, that one game Mike was talking about, it was one that I was supposed to cover, and I was trying to get coverage because you had to work, Mike, I think. Yeah, you had to work, and so I had to cover the game and cover writing it, and I was not Vegas flu. I actually had the flu, real sick. I didn't drink a single drip of alcohol, just dying. And having to wake up for a 9 o'clock game to kind of cover it just to watch the Ducks get 7 shots on goal and get blanked. I was annoyed. I was irritated. And that continued their losing streak too. It's like I didn't know what to write on that article. Just write hey, Ducks showed up to the arena, but they didn't come to play. But yeah, even this game, I was like, I'm not gonna watch it. I don't want to bring bad luck. Okay, let me turn it on and see what's going on. Boom, Ducks are up 3-0. I think it was 4-0 when I turned it on. And then, I forgot when I turned it on, but when I turned the game on, the Flyers start scoring. So I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm superstitious, so I just shut the game off. I just kept turning it on here and there, and just kind of watched it after the game was over. But yeah, what a hell of a game. I'm glad they came back and won. Now I wish I would have watched the whole game and saw that. And Vetrano's hat trick, that's the crazy. Frank the Tank's really really exploding. Speaking of hat tricks, I don't know, Mike, I'm a little off subject, but seen Austin Matthews hat trick the other day. Some lady threw her bra on the ice.
Yeah, there's a joke about that too. There's a meme that's the closest Toronto's seen any cups recently.
I didn't see that one. Oh, that's the fun. I had a double take. Like, okay, did someone Photoshop that, or someone really threw that on the ice? But oh man, that's I guess that's creative. I wonder if Frank the Tank gets a third hat trick. What are you going to be throwing on the ice, Mike?
I know. I might have to bring like a jockstrap or something. Get really crazy and just start getting nuts.
Take a DucksNPucks logo on it.
And it's crazy because I got to witness 2 of the hat tricks. I got to see Frank's first one, and we'll talk about the homestand the Ducks are on now. I got to see Terry's as well, man. I mean, it's been a wild season for the Ducks, man. But yeah, you're right. I mean, the Ducks able to take out Philly, but Toronto gets a hat trick. You finally see Zegras get a goal. And then they they go into Pittsburgh, and this game, both games against Pittsburgh really pissed me off. You guys know that I like the Penguins too, just like the Ducks, but the officiating in these 2 games, the away game and the home game, were complete dog shit. And I don't like to bitch about the refs, but this game against Pittsburgh, Eddie, really pissed me off. When the Ducks had a chance to go up 3-1 in this game, Johnson scored. They called goalie interference. Reviewed it. Still said goalie interference. Cronin got mad. They ended up getting the delay of game right for the challenge, and then Cronin got 2 minutes for unsportsmanlike. So the Penguins get 5-on-3, and of course they score. So instead of the Ducks being up 3-1, it's 2-2. And then after that goal, something happened. We don't know exactly what, but then Cronin gets booted out of the game. And then he gets fined later $25,000, which I know Eddie strongly feels that's bullshit, and so do I. And the Ducks, were still able to win, though. They got down 3-2 in the third, and fucking McTavish did his shit and was able to pull the Ducks out, especially at the end. I mean, the Penguins got another 5-on-3 power play in the last 2 minutes, and Henrique finds McTavish coming out of the box on the breakaway to score with like 8 or 9 seconds left. It's a fucking phenomenal game. But I don't, man. This game, out of all the recent ones, man, holy shit! I really felt it was a statement game because the Ducks beat the refs and the Penguins in this game, Eddie, and I thought it was just complete bullshit. I know how you feel about the whole thing with Cronin. That thing killed me. That thing pissed me off. But what did you think? You had them go play the Flyers, an early freaking game, which was like, I'm like 10 a.m. What the fuck is this shit? I hate that crap. But they took it to the Flyers. They go to the Penguins. It looks like all is lost and they're going to lose. You're in a tie game, 5-on-3 power play for the other team in the final 2 minutes, and you pull out a shorthanded goal and win to stun them, and you go 4-0-0 on the road trip. Like I don't know how you felt, dude. I was fucking ecstatic when the Ducks beat the Penguins in this fashion because I felt they got royally screwed in this game by the refs.
Yeah, and these refs are terrible. They just keep getting worse and worse. They break up fights prematurely. They just, I don't know what their issue is. Like they're trying to be more involved, or they want to make a statement on whose dick's bigger. It's just like it gets to the point where you got to just snap a puck right in their mouth and give them a puck sandwich, break a few teeth or something. I know that sounds horrible, but to make calls that bad, like, I mean, I would do it. I'm not going to ever admit to ever doing this in my life, but hey, if I accidentally shot a puck and hit a ref right in his dome or right in the mouth, it teaches a lesson, pain compliance. And the way they're playing and the way they just kind of try to screw over the Ducks, it's like they're not even hiding it anymore. Not just the Ducks games, it's just like league wide. Like some of the calls they make are so inconsistent and everything. It's just crazy how they get away with it. And I'm glad that Cronin really stepped up for his boys. I think that fired everybody up. Like, okay, we have a coach that really had our back, screamed at the refs, went out there and kind of gave up his coaching position at that moment when he got booted from the game, just for his team. I don't think Aikens would have done something like that. I think he was more kind of, I guess, level-headed. But I like how he just lost control for his team. That's the best thing, and I think he's part of the reason why, and he should have been coined one of the stars of that game too, to get his boys that fired up. You're talking about getting a nice hit and a fight to spark your team and spark the boys up. What Cronin did just really fired up his team and kind of gave everyone that level of more respect and trust for him, not just as a head coach, but like, hey, someone that really has our back and understands us. And as long as we do the right thing and feed into the system, he's always going to have our back 110%. I love to see that. And I wish the Ducks would have actually took this opportunity too to go ahead and throw a GoFundMe page. Let fans donate for a cause for Cronin, just as a joke. Other teams have done it. Like other teams, fan base or something, they would create like a GoFundMe, and that thing would be donated to a certain charity when bullshit fines are kind of assessed. I think the Ducks lost a huge opportunity to really capitalize on making these donations to a better cause for that reason. But other than that, I think Cronin it's just Cronin the Barbarian. That's all you could say. That's definitely stuck true to his nickname.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember we had that. It's a podcast last season. We called it Cronin the Barbarian, and yeah, man, the fire that guy brings and the passion and everything is fucking fantastic. And I'm with you too. I even posted that on X. I said, hey man, how can we pay for this fine? I'll chip in some money, throw it down. I don't care. I thought that was just trash. I mean, I get it the way that the league is set up, but it's kind of crazy because if you're a coach and you go off on the refs, and it's happened with a couple other coaches around the league too, so they didn't just target Cronin, but whatever. And we don't know the specifics after the Penguins tied up the game on that power play. No one really knows exactly what happened. Obviously, the coaches and the team know. But the way the league's set up, coaches can get $25,000 fines for arguing with officials and talking trash or whatever you want to say, but players only get $5,000 for kicking the shit out of another player. I'm just like, wow, that amazes me. So you can talk trash and it costs 5 times as much as beating the crap out of somebody. I mean, that's just wow. The NHLPA, you guys did a fucking awesome job, because I would love to be a hockey player and kick someone's ass and only be charged $5,000.
That's. We could talk about this after the show, but we could talk about Chicago getting away with it and the Senators getting screwed with the first round draft pick. But we could save that for at the end of the show. We talk about other league news.
Yeah, well, and Chicago's been surrounded by some more controversy, which, I mean, we can save that till the end. But, nothing's going to happen with them. But anyways, we'll get to that later. But yeah, sticking with the Ducks, I mean, having the coach like that go off and stand up for the team like that, I am 1,000% behind him. I love it. I thought it was great. That call was complete trash. The replay was trash. The officials got it wrong. Toronto, you got it wrong, and that was a joke. The Ducks should have been up 3-1 in that game and shouldn't even have had to come back and win that game. I'm glad they still did come back and win, and it all worked out, but that just really pissed me off. I don't like to go off on the officials too much, but I'm sorry. They got that one dead wrong. I don't care what they say. And if they are saying that Carrick's in the blue paint and all that, okay, let's go back to the 1990 rules then, where if a forward is in the paint and a goal scored, the goal doesn't count. Then go back to those old school rules. If that goal doesn't count because of that, because that's basically what happened on that play. Carrick's in the paint, barely brushes the goalie, and you're going to tell me that was goalie interference? Hell no. So, yeah, Eddie.
Oh, I lost my train of thought. You had me at one thing you said. Oh, yeah, Mike, I want to play a game of what if. What if Cronin was the head coach when the Ducks played the Avalanche in Colorado when Patrick Wall went ballistic? Because that would have been a full-on coach fight right there. Because I don't think Cronin would allow him to be pushing that glass toward his players. That would have been it. That would have been probably one of the greatest moments in hockey history, seeing two. I think Cronin looks like a little brawler too. So it's like two coaches going it'd be all crazy on the ice. I think both teams would it'd be a full-on brawl. I would feel like, as a fan, have to hit someone just to be part of it. Like, just to go and punch someone real quick. Like, man.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I wouldn't want to piss them off. And I think we talked about this too on the show when I had a chance to talk to the players before the season. Some of them were like, oh man, dude, we don't know how he's going to be. We heard he's a hard ass, And I mean, I love it, man. I think he's great. And I think that helped the Ducks catapult them came back and won that game. They went 4-0-0 on the road trip. The first time they've swept a road trip like that where they won at least 4 games in a row since 2013. Holy crap, man. Amazing. So the Ducks, winning, on their winning streak, they're come from behind games. The comeback kids, right? They come home. They face the Coyotes. I was there in person for that one. The Coyotes have kind of been our new rival, right, lately. And the Ducks jumped out on them right away. Terry getting 2 goals right away. Everything looked great. They're good fast start. The Coyotes actually respond. They get a couple goals, and then they end up going ahead 3-2 in the second. But the Ducks rallied again in the third period. You had Terry taking a shot which deflected off Carlson to tie up the game. And then a wild overtime period. You had Troy Terry with a breakaway in the beginning of the overtime, and he gets stuffed. And then later on, him and McTavish get a 2-on-1. McTavish was a fantastic fake-out move, leaving the Coyotes player's jockstrap on the ice and making it a 2-on-1. Terry scoring the game-winning goal and hat-trick goal for the Ducks to come back and beat Arizona. I mean, holy shit, man. This game, I mean, I thought the Ducks, this whole Pittsburgh game was amazing. This game, especially in person, was just fantastic to see. Just an amazing game. I thought the Ducks played great in the beginning. Not so great in the second period, but then they came back in the third and pulled out this win, especially against Arizona, who's really been the team that we dislike more so, Eddie. I mean, we don't like the Kings and Sharks, right? But with Arizona lately, it's been a battle in these games. We've seen the tempers flared in this game too. Gudas got under their skin, which, by the way, that's my wife's new favorite player in the Ducks is Gudas. I'm gonna get her a Gudas jersey because he just kicks ass. She loves him, thinks he's like the greatest thing ever. I don't know, man. A lot of good stuff going on with this win too, Eddie.
Yeah, that fake out move by McTavish was a thing of beauty. He just sophomore slump isn't his vocabulary one bit. He's playing way better hockey, and his game has risen to a whole new level. It's good to see. It's good to see that development right before your eyes, and seeing how the impact he has on this team, and him stepping up on the ice to be that leader that he's becoming. It's just, he's a force to be reckoned with, and I'm glad that he's stepping up his game. And everyone on the Ducks is, even Zegras not having the best starts with points wise, but his two-way game has been a lot better. He's been more defensively sound. He's back checking. He's doing those little things that caused him to be benched. And it seems like his play is working out. And it doesn't really matter how many points you're getting as an individual player. And a lot of these players really don't care about that. They care about putting the points on the scoreboard and beating the other team. So that's what the Ducks are doing. That's good to see. And it just sucks. I still haven't made it out to a game yet. It's been now it's November. I just don't have time for a game. But hopefully soon. And hopefully we'll get together and get that behind the glass bench too, Mike. That we're still trying to coordinate on that with both of our busy schedules. But yeah, I'll make it to a game. Hopefully they kick ass again. But yeah, that was a really fun one to win, especially the Arizona seems to be a heated rivalry right now with the Ducks for the last couple seasons.
Yeah, exactly. And you're right. Yeah, we'll get together. I meant to hit you up about that. I got a couple dates, so we'll talk about it offline and plan that out. But yeah, this game, going there in person, man, I love it. Like, I was talking to my wife about it, and how they were like last season was so frustrating, and now going to the games, it's like, oh my God, man. Even if the Ducks are losing going the third period, they have a chance to win. Like, they're never out of it the way that this team is this year, where, especially last season, the Ducks got down by at least 2 goals. You were like, we're fucking toast. Now it's like, whatever, dude. I mean, like, you don't know till the very, very end. I mean, it's just fantastic the way they've been playing. Some crazy stats, too. Terry's the 4th player in team history to complete a comeback with the overtime goal resulting in a hat trick. That's pretty crazy. And the Ducks also had 3 hat tricks in the first 10 games. The only team to do more than that was the Islanders in 84-85, where they had 4 hat tricks in the first 10 games. So some crazy stats for you there, as a result of this game. And then, the Ducks,
they continue. Talking about stats real quick, Mike.
Yeah.
Do you know how many hat tricks the Ducks had in franchise history in a season? Like how many different hat tricks?
I'd have to look it up.
Yeah, we have to look that up. Or if one of you guys listening, if you want to just shoot us that information just in case we forget. But that'd be a good stat to add and talk about on the next podcast too.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd have to look up and see what's the most they've had in a season. But it's been crazy. You get 3 hat tricks in 10 games. Like, what the hell? And then you had Vegas, right? So Vegas comes to town. They're 11-0-1. They haven't lost in regulation. You're like, oh crap, how's this gonna go, right? We got Calder back, which was good. He had been practicing. He got into the lineup, and this game didn't start out good. You know, the Knights scored first, and they ended up building a 2-goal lead going into the third period again. And what happened? The comeback kids dropped 4 on the Vegas and knocked them out. You had Henrique getting a power play goal early in the third. Carrick tying up the game. McTavish getting the eventual game winner. And then Carrick again an empty netter. Only his second game getting 2 goals in the game. And the Ducks just rolling at this point. They've had the longest winning streak in the league at 6 games. Handing Vegas their first regulation loss. Holy shit. Just crazy. Again, Eddie, the Ducks down 2-0 in the third period. Did not play, didn't play horrible, but, didn't play great, in the first couple periods. They were in it, but they just turned it on in the third period and took Vegas out. And I mean, wow. I was amazed at this game too, Eddie. I thought, oh crap, here comes Vegas. We have a hard time against them. When it was going to the third and they were down 2-0, I was like, oh man. But there's still that glimmer of hope with this team. And they took it to the Knights in the third period and took them down.
Yeah, and you know what? I really, really wanted to go to this game. I had a feeling that the Ducks were going to beat the Knights. I think the Knights were just running on just borrowed time as far as hockey-wise to be continuously getting that. I think the Knights probably took for granted the Ducks too. They came a little complacent knowing their track record against Anaheim. Yeah, and even especially that whole complacentness just kind of grew bigger with the 2-0 lead. And that's the worst lead you can have in hockey is that 2-goal lead because it can be taken away with the instant and it takes out all momentum. And that's what the Ducks did. You know what too is funny, Mike, and I wish I would have done this. My barber went to Vegas this past weekend, and I just didn't have the time. I was going to stop by and give him like a couple $100 to put down on the Ducks winning against Vegas on Sunday, like a straight bet. I just had a feeling they were going to. That's how confident I was, thinking the Ducks were going to beat the Knights. It just had that little feeling you get, and they went ahead and did it. Amazing game. You have to give credit to the Golden Knights, Logan Thompson. He did a great job. He wasn't really tested as much. Vegas was the more dominant team, I felt like. But the Ducks just had to no fight, no quit, that comeback kids. I think part of it, too, I want to go back to that game when Cronin got kicked out in Pittsburgh. I think they're kind of playing with more of a chip on their shoulder and playing for their coach. Like, hey, you had our backs. You went out and you got fined. So now we're going to make it up to you. Like, we're gonna play our asses off. We're not going to quit. Yeah, it's not this team is playing great hockey, some best hockey we've seen in a while. I'm still not convinced they're playoff contender team, but the Ducks have no quit and no fight, and they're improving in all statistic categories, and that's what you love to see. And I think Cronin has a really big factor in this. They want to play their hearts out for the team. It's just like you play any sport. If you have a good coach that works his ass off as much as you to get you better, you want to show them the best you can do and be the best for them. That's just not really sport-wise. If you have a teacher you love that actually spent the extra time to go over work with you after hours and really molded you to be a good student, you want to show that teacher the best possible, finished product of what you can. So I think that's what kind of bleeds down to it. And whatever Cronin's feeding them, the Ducks are kind of feeding into it, and they're really playing some great hockey. And the only regret I have is not going to that game on Sunday. But hey, I guess a nice little bender for the weekend and my playoff hockey game on Sunday was more important.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, the whole thing with Cronin in there, they're playing for him, the way the team's gelling, they have an edge. You've got, Johnston fighting D'Lo in Philly. You got Gudis hip checking everybody left and right, just kicking their asses. I mean, the way this team's going, it's awesome. They have an edge. They have a chippiness. The stuff that Eddie and I don't know. We talked about ad nauseum the last couple seasons of what the Ducks have been missing, and they're bringing that big time. Just crazy. And these comeback kids, man, the fastest team in the NHL to record 5 third-period comebacks. That's 11 first games of the season.
Yeah, and
crazy,
you know what?
Eddie.
I heard a really, really weird rumor, and I'm not sure if it's true or not. Every time Gudas either gets in someone's head or hits someone, it's another hair that grows in his beard. So I don't know if that's a true rumor or not, but you know what? I agree with your wife. I love what he brings to the game. I know a lot of people complain he's too physical or the penalties he gets. It's just kind of, he plays with that old school mentality. You need that. And guys like him and Johnston that are on the ice, if you do anything to try to cheap shot one of our players, you got to answer to both of those guys. And then now you have to answer to Cronin, because I'd be afraid that Cronin's going to jump the bench and beat the shit out of me too. Because he does look like a guy that has been around the block, especially his accent makes him sound a lot scarier than he looks too. So I think whatever's working is going well. I'm not surprised by the hot start, and our goalies too. The goalies been playing really well. They've been. It's a kind of a 1A 1B situation. They're kind of. I want to say they're neck and neck. No one's really outdoing the other that much more. So it's good to see them both standing on their heads and keeping us in game so we can win. So it's good to see, and the streak is just unbelievable, and it's crazy. It's good. You have to be happy to be a Ducks fan, and of course. Ducks are on this big streak, and all the media outlets have to come and give us attention. It's like just kind of jumping on the Ducks bandwagon for clout.
Yeah. Except for Frank the Tank, the other Frank, Cervelli.
He's making up rumors. What was the quote? He's throwing spaghetti at the wall to see if it sticks on rumors. He's probably writing up a rumor that Gibson asked for a trade. He wanted to. You know what? Actually, I think Frank Cervelli said this. I'm not sure. Maybe it was a parody account or whatever. But I think he said that when the Ducks were about to host the Pens, he asked Verbeek if he can be traded to the Pittsburgh Penguins, so he doesn't have to travel. He can just walk to the next locker room. I'm not sure if that's true or not, but you can ask Frank Cervelli, or maybe I'll just make up my own rumors, or you can trust my source. My sources trust me, bro.
Yeah, but you're right. Everybody else is jumping on the Ducks bandwagon now. Now they're all posting all this stuff, and I'm just laughing. I'm like, okay, whatever, that's fine. But, I mean, this has been crazy. It's been a crazy stretch. They ended up then playing the Penguins again. Weird scheduling this season. They've already played Boston both times, got those games out of the way. Now they play the Penguins both games. They lost this one. You talked about the goalie situation, too. Gibson played phenomenal in this last game against Pittsburgh, stopping 35 of 36 shots. I thought the Ducks got robbed in this one. The first goal was actually icing the linesman. I think they were partying too much the night before, or they needed LASIK or something. I actually wrote that in the game recap because I just didn't give AF on this because I was pissed off. I really thought that first goal should not have counted. And then, of course, it was a lucky bounce behind the net off of Gibson's leg and in. And then the Ducks fought hard. You know, I thought it could have been a tie game late. Penguins, got an empty net goal, was offside, and then they had Crosby get that one to go ahead and win this game. So, the Ducks their losing streak ended up coming to an end, which, I mean, it couldn't have lasted forever. But I still thought that they played good in this game and had a chance to win. I mean, they were only down by 1 in the final couple minutes of this game. A good goalie battle in this one. I thought they had chances to do it. And, they came up short. But, I wasn't really disappointed in that. I'm more disappointed in the linesmen. I thought that was one of the worst called games by a couple linesmen I've ever seen recently. I thought they were complete trash. And if the league doesn't like that, you can find me just like you find Cronin. Bring it on. You can go read the game recap. Toronto NHL. Sorry, you guys, you're horrible. These 2 games that the Ducks played against the Penguins, probably the worst officiating I've seen in a long, long time. And I usually don't like to criticize the officials, but it just was horrible. The officiating was terrible. I don't know what it was. I mean, they love the Penguins, I guess. They don't like the Ducks, but I still thought they had a chance despite that. They still played tough. They really poured it on in the third period. They outshot Pittsburgh 7-1 in the last 10 minutes there with shots on goal, and I thought they had a chance, Eddie, but they just came up a little bit short.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I went to bed early on this game. after watching it on my phone with the streaming services, the few of them I do have. The Ducks didn't play bad. It was a solid, good game. I want to say it was a good loss, if you want to call it. If you know what I'm talking about, it's one of those games where there's no quit in the Ducks, and an easy bounce, an easy goal. It would have 2 inches to the left, 2 inches to the right. It would have changed the whole outcome of the game. But they didn't play bad at all, and it was a good overall game. I was surprised, to get Gibson started in net. Usually it's been kind of rotating, a Dostal, Gibson, but it's surprising to see that. But he played extremely well. He had a great, solid performance. I wish Doss started over Gibson, all for my selfish reasons for fantasy hockey. But I mean, overall, you can't be mad at this losing their streak and losing this game 2-0. It was just overall a nice sound play, and there wasn't really a kind of a weakness in the Ducks. And it was just they played hard, and some things, and just like in life, some things don't go your way. And apparently, this game didn't go the Ducks' way, but it's not going to deter them. That I think they're going to still come out blazing and firing, and it's probably going to even fire them up and motivate them to win the next game.
Yeah, let's talk about the Ducks' overall play. That's kind of our next little segment. We'll talk about. Then we got a bunch of your fan questions as well that we'll get to, and then some league news. But yeah, you talked about the Ducks playing overall. They have been playing much better in terms of actually everything. When we talked about in the beginning of the season, special teams play wasn't really doing as well, but it's improved. The penalty kill is, almost at 80%, which, still not great. You want to be higher than that, but it was better than the mid-70s is what it was in. And now the power play, they're finally starting to score. It took forever. They were at 5% about 4 or 5 games into the season. Now they're 18.5%, so they're getting up there close to that 20% range, which is great. In terms of puck possession, they're still kind of the mid-high 40s. Their Corsi and Fenwick stats at even strength, so still not quite at 50 or above, but still hanging in there. They've had a couple bad periods here and there, but overall they've been really, really good, really solid. We had some honors too recently. You had Dostal getting the Rookie of the Month honors in October, and then you had McTavish getting the 3rd Star of the Week last week. So a lot of good things going there, and a lot of people wonder about. The status of McTavish, and is he going to be the next captain? And that was kind of one of the fan questions that we had. I had Midnight Angel on Discord asked, do we think that the Ducks will name a captain this year or wait till next season? They'll probably wait till next season, but man, I was really big on Terry, and I still am. But holy crap, man! Look at what McTavish has done. It's been phenomenal. He's been factoring in these game-winning goals in the last 3 or 4 games, getting points in every game. Even the swag, Eddie. If you saw that Bally Sports graphic they put out where they had him sticking out his tongue, and there's photos of him flying around with his tongue out and everything. I mean, it's just wow, man. Overall, I'm amazed at how the Ducks have done so far to begin the season. Obviously, there's always room for improvement, but if you're not excited about this team right now, man, I don't know what to tell you, because every game has been fun to watch. They're enjoying it. They're in it. They're competitive. The coach is behind them. They're behind the coach. I just love what I'm seeing overall, Eddie.
Yeah, he's buzzing, flying around out there. I think it'd be irresponsible for any team to start to name him captain this season. He's developing at a great rate. Let him just go and continue to develop at the rate he is. I know in the past a lot of young captains have been in the league. I like the Avs too. I'm an Avs fan too. I've been following them probably as long as the Ducks because of Patrick Wall. That's why I started following the Avs. But when they named Gabriel Landeskog, he was the youngest captain in the whole entire league. 19 years old, and people question that, but his maturity on the ice, the way he played the game, it kind of reminds me of McTavish. Like these old school players like Landeskog, when they're named captain at a young age, they come in with a certain maturity. Now, this new age of hockey, it's a little bit immature when they come in. It's a little different than it was before. But McTavish has always had that mentality of being more mature for his age, and he kind of reminds me of kind of like Landeskog. He comes in, he gets things done, he has fun with the boys, but he knows when, to have fun and kind of balance that hard work and business mentality, and I love seeing that from him. I think he's going to be the next captain from the Ducks one day, and he's going to be a phenomenal captain. And he's going to kind of be that captain, like Like you say, Jonathan Taves, everyone captain serious, but when it came down to it, he's all about his team. Captain like Gabriel Landeskog was a phenomenal captain. Still is, unfortunately, he's out with an injury, but I think he has that level of maturity to really kind of lead the boys and have everyone just look up to him and follow him. Even the older guys that might be older than him, and he's such a young player coming in, being a captain. But they're going to look up to him because what he brings on the ice, his product, and his mentality in the locker room, and just like I said, watching the videos that the Ducks been posting. The Ducks too. I want to give a shout out to their social media team. They've been completely on fire this season. So I don't know what's going on. They changed it up, but whoever's running it, just kudos to you. But they're posting the videos of Cronin in the locker room speaking, and just he's joking around. Didn't he ask about having a day off or something like that? Just kind of breaking the ice and having those jokes like that. It's just, and then going on the ice and being as serious as he is and really coming out to play. I think it's just so fun to watch, and he's just evolving right in front of our eyes, and we don't have to worry about any sophomore slump, and he's just playing some fantastic hockey, and he's really kind of making everyone around him better, and that's what you want in a potential superstar, and that's what we're getting.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, McTavish, yeah, and I think you're right. Yeah, I think they hold off this season. Future captain next season, strong argument for sure. The way he's just developed, he's just come through in all kinds of different situations. It's been amazing to watch him develop this season, and just overall everything. The way scoring that shorthanded goal against Pittsburgh, and then just everything, chipping in on the points, the way he's been attacking and playing his two-way game, it's been great. So, a well-deserved third star of the week. Excited to see what he's going to keep bringing this season. And, the Ducks have also got some other young talent as well, doing well. You've got Carlson with 3 goals now in 8 games. We talked about the development plan last week. Or 2 weeks ago, whatever, on the last show, and I don't know if the Ducks will really fall on that because he's been playing in almost every game. So, I don't know if they're going to adhere to that. I know they were talking about doing it for 2 months and then ramping it up. They might start ramping it up sooner. And then Mint Nikulov, tied with the rookies point lead as of at least the time we're recording the show. So. Just a lot of good stuff going on with this team. A lot of players to watch and see how they're developing, Eddie.
Oh, yeah. You know what? The Calder race, it's already called. Like, there's no way no one else is winning it but Bedard. And the NHL is going to make that happen, period. It's not going to go by votes. We already seen how the league can sway things in the draft. There's no way Bedard's not going to win the Calder this year. I can bet on that. I can bet $100 right now, easy, wouldn't even blink an eye, that they're not going to let their golden boy that they just can't stop talking about. Like, Bedard farts, and they're already like, oh my God, his fart's the best fart we ever heard in our lives. They're just on him like shit on our flies on shit. So it just sucks. But I think Carlson, there's no point, like I mentioned before, to keep him out of the lineup. He seems like he belongs there. Yes, there's growing pains from a young player that's first year in the league. It's going to be rough games. He's going to make a lot of mistakes, but you know what? You learn from these mistakes and you grow from it. He looks good out there. He looks like he has nothing more to prove to be dropped down, or to, obviously going back to Europe over there. If he gets that bad, we can always send him to San Diego. But I think he's good where he belongs. He's adjusting well. He's getting used to playing in the NHL, the schedule of the NHL. I don't know, like this development plan they had. I'm glad they're kind of ditching it, and I'm glad every time they announce the lineups, I'm seeing him on there and they're playing him. So that's good. Maybe the back-to-back games, they'll just sit him out one game for, I guess, a maintenance day if they want to call it that. But I think he's doing fine, even though the points aren't coming as everyone wants him to come. But he's still a rookie. He's a kid, so they're going to come eventually. He's just learning the game, grasping it. He's using his body and his frame. I like that, but he's just growing into the game, as you get to see. Minty, on the other hand, and I'm going to use my first F-bomb on the show, but holy fucking shit. This kid is amazing. I love this kid. I can't even tell he's a rookie. Just seeing him, like, the way he skates, the way he sees the ice. He throws his body. He's blocking shots. He goes and drives down the center and creates opportunities. Shoots the puck. It's just everything about this kid. Like, Oh man, he's a defenseman too. He reminds me of that Cedar kid from Detroit. Obviously, two different style of players, but just the way that his confidence level and how he's kind of boosting that back line for the Ducks. I don't think anyone saw this coming from him. We all knew he was going to get some games in, but no one saw him being this productive as he is, especially as a blue liner. And I think his value is sky high, and he's only going to get better. And we haven't even had Zellweger. He's supposed to be even better and are supposed to be our future top defenseman. He hasn't even really made an impact. Imagine when he's ready to go, and the Ducks are going to be scary. This team's going to be a force to be reckoned with. All these years of misery we've been having, me hiding under the bed, drinking myself because the Ducks have a 13-game losing streak back in the time and couldn't score a power play goal in 3 years. This is just going to be another celebration of me actually standing up in my bed, downing a bottle because the Ducks are about to win their fourth Stanley Cup in a row. Like, it's just, this team is nothing but gonna just keep trending up. And like I said, this team, and a lot of people agree with me, a lot of people I play hockey with that are Kings fans agree that the Ducks have probably the best pipeline in the whole National Hockey League. And just, their rookies are just bringing their games up. They're ready for the next level, and they're only gonna get better. And Minty's just, I can't even say enough about the kid. Like, it's just, I think my next jersey, like I said, it's going to be Gudis or it's going to be Minty. And I probably want it Minty on there. It's just something different, or my future considerations that I'm trying to get done, but that's a kind of a mission that we'll figure that out. But yes, I love everything this kid is bringing to the team, and even Carlson too. It would just, like, his development, he doesn't really need the time off unless he's banged up, and obviously he's young. He's not going to want to say he's banged up, but if the coach notices, like, I know, I like the way everything is going, everything playing out. Like why ruin a bad thing? But Minty for sure surprised me, and I think he'll be in the running for the Calder come the awards.
Yeah, I mean, you said it all, man. As far as Minty, he's been killing it. He's been doing great. Great two-way player. Like you said, throwing around the body. He's been getting tons of assists. He has one goal. He could have had a couple. He's had, some post shots and near misses and whatnot. I mean, he's been all over the place. And you're right, we don't even have Zellweger up yet either. And we still have Drysdale out. Drysdale, not really much of an update on him, but they didn't really give a return timetable yet for him. But the Ducks are planning on resting him until he's ready to go. And I mean, there's no need to rush him back. I mean, you've got the way the Ducks blue line. You've got Lacombe too. We haven't really talked about a lot. He's been playing phenomenal. You got Fowler, Vakanainen, obviously Gudis, as you and I have mentioned. I mean, the blue line is vastly, vastly improved this season. A big reason why the Ducks have been playing better. They're not, having Gibson getting destroyed with 40 to 50 shots a game. They're keeping it in the 30 range, which is what you should be doing. You want to keep it, somewhat manageable. But I think the blue line has been huge for the Ducks, and the fact that they don't even have to bring Drysdale back right away. They're just hanging in there, doing their thing. I think they've been, improved 5-on-5. They've been improved defensively. They're now playing better on special teams as well. So, when you look at all of it, I'm happy with everything that's gone on. I thought kind of another interesting fan question that we had also on our Discord was I had, let's see, it's from XCharge17X, which he goes by Ryan Getzlaff. I crack up on Discord. But he was talking about the Ducks and how they were doing. But he's wondering, are you concerned about, or are we concerned about the Ducks having to come from behind to win these games? And to me, it's a yes and a no. I think the fact that they can come back and win at any time is fantastic, especially when they're trailing in the third, and being a young team and whatnot. But yes, would I want them to be ahead going into the third period every game and have a lead and learn how to play with a lead as opposed to trying to come back from being down? Yes, absolutely. I think that'll happen in time. But it's not overly concerning to me. If we keep going on more and more games and the Ducks are down 3-4 games going to the third period, 3-4 goals going to the third period, then I would be concerned. But these games have all been close. They're not getting blown out. They're within a goal or two going into the third. Not necessarily ideal, but it's not concerning me yet. We're only a little over 10 games into the season. For me, Eddie, I'm okay with that. They're able to come back. But yes, at some point, maybe halfway through the season or maybe later on, if they can start getting some leads heading into third, obviously that'd be more ideal. But to me, it's not alarming yet. What do you think?
No, we had to stop it and come back down to like reality a little bit. I think a lot of us have, I guess, those beer goggles on toward the end of the night at the bar. We're not really thinking or seeing straight. This team still, despite their success, isn't a Stanley Cup team. This isn't a playoff team. I don't know if you agree with that statement, Mike, before I go on, or...
Yeah, I mean, no, that's a good point, because we had a lot of questions about that too on Instagram. We had Halen Princess A6, says, what do you think of the team now? I laugh at this handle. Gibby's dad, with how great the Ducks are playing now, do you think that they could get to or near 500? And then SSJ1 Marco says, can the Ducks make a playoff push? So I agree with you. They're not a Stanley Cup team, not yet. Will they be there? The pipeline, everything you talked about in the future? Oh, for sure. I think we're going to see some great seasons from this team in the future. Going back to a laugh, but Gibby's dad, his question about can they play at 500 or be near there? Well, they are right now, and I think yes, absolutely they can. I think that they can play at 500 or even slightly above. I do think that. Can they make a playoff push? I do think that they can make a playoff push. I do. But, like you were talking about, I think you have to temper expectations. It's still early. I think if they do make it, we're still looking at this wild card type thing. They're fourth right now in the Pacific. You still got Vegas in there. That's a pain in the ass. Obviously the Kings, Arizona, you've got other teams in there to deal with, to fight through. So I like the direction they're going in. I think they can be above 500 team. Can they be in the playoff race come February or so? I think so. But, as far as whatever happens then, I don't know. I want to temper it a little bit there, and that's kind of where I'm at, Eddie.
Yeah, I can't see this team sustaining this amount of how they are to be above 500. And I'm sorry to say that. I'm not trying to, I guess, burst the bubble, but that's just how I feel. And this is how just watching a lot of teams play and how they beef up. I mean, surprises happen in the beginning. Look at teams like Vancouver, just everyone thought they're going to be a shit show, and now they're one of the top leagues. Edmonton's crapping the bed. Buffalo, everyone was kind of hit or miss if they're going to transition up or down. They have the talent to do so, and they're kind of treading on that kind of 50-50-ish right now. I think it's just this team's going to, and the fire is going to eventually burn for the Ducks, and they're not going to be that team. Teams are going to start ramping things up, come closer to playoffs. Changes are going to be made. We've seen what the St. Louis Blues did before the All-Star break when they fired their head coach, brought up a third-string goalie, and look what happened to them. They went on a huge heater and ended up winning. They had the skill and talent to do so. They didn't have the right guy behind the bench. If the Ducks make a wild card spot, which if they do make the playoffs, I think it's going to be a wild card spot. It's not going to be anywhere in the top 3 in the Pacific Division, but you just have too much firepower in the Pacific for the Ducks to actually come and be successful. And you don't want the Ducks just to squeak in playoffs to get swept or embarrassed in the first round, just getting absolutely destroyed. It's a whole different ball game for the playoffs. If you watch the playoffs, the hitting's up, the intensity's up. You had Vegas running with 3 strong centers. You have LA now that have 3 centers that can probably play as Denault and Dubois can be first-line centers on any other team or lower teams, but the Kings are so deep. But Kopitar on center too. You have to run 3 experienced and big centers that can move their body and put up points, and I just can't see the Ducks doing that. And I wouldn't want the Ducks to get that little mid-tier draft pick. It's just not tank, keep playing the way we're doing, but just I guess it's really hard, like a little hard to say, like as a fan, like definitely want the Ducks to win and be successful, but just like I just don't see it, and I rather bank on another higher draft pick to build around and just have a dynasty instead of just like being happy the Ducks made the playoffs and we can attend a few more games postseason. So I guess that's my kind of take on that.
No, I mean, and that's a legit take. That was another person we had, BSH Rotes 5 on Discord, asked about the Ducks falling back to earth or staying hot, and that's what you're talking about as well. And I think another big concern in this that we haven't talked about, we'll kind of finish this part of the Ducks discussion before we wrap up with league news, but we'll kind of finish with this, is Zegras has been MIA in the beginning of the season in terms of scoring points. And that's been a big issue with some people. Some people are not happy. He's got a goal and an assist in the first 12 games. He was benched in Columbus. We wondered how that would affect him. It seemed like he came out and played better, Boston and Philly on the rest of the road trip. What are your thoughts? I mean, some people are legitimately concerned. The production's not there. This could factor into the team and how they do too, if they're going to play better, down the road or do make the playoffs or whatnot. But are you concerned because the production's not been there, or what do you think? With this overall game and what you've seen so far. Obviously just 12 games into the season.
No, I think he's doing fine. I think he's adding more tools to his toolbox. Last year he just was all about offense. It seemed like a lot of his two-way game was lacking in more of a defensive liability. Come playoffs and higher stressful games and higher elite games like that in playoffs, you're going to want that two-way center. You want to be that shutdown center, but also be able to put up production and points and be the game changer. I think right now he's kind of tooling himself to be that player and molding himself to a better player. He's still young. He still has a lot of hockey to actually learn about this game. You can't just step on the ice for 2 or 3 years and think you know it all. It's a learning environment each and every day. You got to adapt to variable change and adapt to your surroundings. And I think the benching probably fired him up, him feeding into what Cronin is working on, and him knowing that Cronin is doing it just to make him become one of the best players he can possibly be. And all this is going to it's going to help when the Ducks become really competitive, and we're not talking about if they make the playoffs, but when they do, it's going to be good. And like I said too, like I said, this season it's just more of like let's retool all the skills and let's better ourselves and mold ourselves to better hockey players. I think the best example I can use is the movie Avengers Infinity War. That's like the Ducks right now. Like they're the Avengers. They had to lose. Thanos is like the playoffs or something. And then what happened? They came back. They came back stronger. They came back united. They fed into, I guess, whatever they did, going to the past, beating Thanos, and they ultimately won. So I think that's something that I guess I can kind of use that as a Ducks right now. Let's just use this as if we don't make success and make the playoffs this season, and it's just like, don't worry about that. Worry about just playing your game. Don't worry about the winning. Just worry about playing your ass off 110% each and every shift, each and every game, finding ways to get better, keep talking, keep asking, watching film, and just really getting ready to take that next step, because in a few seasons or even next season, this team could just forget about the early vacation, early golf times. You're going to be in the postseason a lot longer than you have in a while, and it's going to, I guess, enjoy the little break that you have, because once this team gets molded like I think they are, and how we're seeing in our very own eyes, they're going to just be a force to be reckoned with. But I think Zegras is playing really well, and I think this is part of probably his best two-wave game we've seen him since he's been in the league.
Yeah, and I think that's the big thing. I know a lot of people, especially when you're looking at the forwards, the wingers and centers, you're really looking at goals and assists, and of course that's a big stat to look at. But I think Zegras has gotten more mature. I think he's handled, that benching from Cronin very well. And I think those points will start to come there. I think Carlson is going to, it looks like he's going to be playing more games, as we talked about. So it'll be him, Terry, and Zegras together gelling. And I think it's going to come. But you're right. I liked his two-way game. I think there's little things that you don't see in some of these games where he's been creating turnovers. He has been back-checking better. He's been making little plays, whether they're little passes or whatnot, to that end up leading into a scoring chance or into a goal, and maybe he doesn't get the assist, or he keeps the puck in on the forecheck and whatnot. So I think overall, his points, yes, they're not there, but I think his game has improved, in a roundabout way, and I think it's only going to go up there. And same thing that Eddie talked about. I mean, we're excited the Ducks have been on this winning streak, and obviously it got snapped against the Penguins and whatnot, but they're playing better than anybody projected so far this season. I don't care who you are. Anybody would have told you the Ducks would have won 6 games in a row and had 5 comeback victories. You would have been like, dude, you're smoking crack. There's no way. But they are. They've taken a step forward, a huge step forward, in my opinion. Obviously, is there work to be done? Is there more to go? Of course, 100%. And I think Eddie's right. I think they keep developing, keep working hard. They're trending in the right direction. Keep going that way, and we'll just see what happens. So, plenty to be excited about with this team, and the biggest thing is the competitiveness that you're seeing on the ice, the making the plays, the fighting, the standing up for each other, the coaches and whatnot. It's just been phenomenal change this season as opposed to last season, and I absolutely love it. So good stuff overall with the Ducks, and we'll kind of wind up with what's going on in the league. A little bit of stuff in the Pacific Division too. We're talking about the Ducks and how great that they're doing. Well, there's some other teams that aren't doing so great in the Pacific. You've got the San Jose Sharks, who finally won a game against Philly. They had lost 2 games where they had given up 10 goals. Holy crap. And then you also had Edmonton waiving Jack Campbell. Like, what the hell? Like, what a crazy Pacific Division, Eddie. It's we've got some teams killing it and some teams not so much.
Yeah, I don't understand the signing, the 5-on-5. I think 5 at 5.5 for Jack Campbell. He had decent numbers, good numbers, but it was just streaky with Toronto. He couldn't get him, I guess, a successful point in the playoffs that they deserve. Toronto has a stacked team. I don't understand how they haven't been to the Cup final. It's just, I guess, a Toronto curse. But their team is stacked. They're just unbelievable. But it's just, for some reason, Edmonton, they I don't know what's going on. I'm kind of glad, because they were kind of shitheads to us in the playoffs, and their fans are really arrogant. But it's I don't understand what's going on over there. You spend your money on things that you don't need, but you're not fixing defense. They've been having issues with defense, which leads... I mean, all Ducks fans know, if you don't have good defense, your goalies are going to struggle. Look at Gibson. You can ask Gibson. We can bring him on the show one day. He can talk about that. Yeah, it's just like you bring Jack Campbell. You expect Stuart Skinner to, have his sophomore season to be a superstar goalie. It's just too much for them. And then waiving him... I'm not sure if he'll be picked up the way he's been playing. He's probably one of the bottom goalies in the league. I don't think it's all on him. I think it's just a different environment to play in. And we can't use the whole he's playing in Canada excuse, because it's like Edmonton fans are just as ballistic and crazy about their team as Toronto. So it's like he's used to that kind of pressure. To maybe, I don't know, maybe a team could pick him up that needs a goalie, that desperately needs one, and maybe they kind of take a gamble on him, but it's going to be expensive, a $5 million gamble. I highly doubt that he gets picked up by anyone. So it's going to be one of those things where if you're going to just bury him in the minors to see, you can just kind of trade him and see what happens. Cal Peterson was the same in LA. He made that substantial amount of raise. He had a few good seasons. I don't think he should have got the raise, but I mean, they had to rely on Copley that had a phenomenal run last season, and he's not doing well this season. And the Kings are still in the same boat, too. They don't have any really goaltending. They have a great team on paper, but their goaltending is really questionable and sketchy. But it's just, Edmonton's just been terrible. It sucks, too, because Draisaitl's on one of my paid fantasies, so it's really bad to see him actually not performing well, but I guess it's cool. It's not cool, but it's funny to see Edmonton struggling because it's Edmonton. They're in the Pacific, but it kind of sucks too. It's like they have a great team. They have Connor McDavid's probably ranked number 1 or number 2 best player in the world. It's just they're not getting it done over there, and their management is just kind of mismanaging their team. And they've been like that for years. All the draft picks they have, Yakupov, they kind of ruined by just kind of prematurely throwing him out there thinking he was ready when he wasn't. Kind of derailed his career. I mean, not only their fault, but I'm sure the player had some kind of issue with that. But it's just crazy to see them falling so behind like that. And you never know. Like, hockey is one of those sports you never know. Like I mentioned too before, like the Ducks, I don't see them as a Stanley Cup contending team, but you never know. Things can just go crazy. The Ducks can go on a huge heater. They can get in the playoffs. They can steal a few wins. All of a sudden, Stanley Cup, and just like, I think that the whole thing too is I want to say I think everyone underestimates the Ducks too. They came in having a terrible season, and people weren't expecting the Ducks to to play the way they are, and they are. So, but I don't know. It's just one of those seasons. It's like I don't know. I don't want to be too critical. I don't want to say too many bad things about Edmonton, but something has to change. I don't know what you need to do. Big shakeups. Everything you're doing hasn't been working, and it's going to be, the biggest thing you have to lose too is Connor McDavid. Like, how long is he going to put up with that crap, with the mismanagement of the team? You could have brought in a better goalie. You could have made some trades. Now you have to try to see if someone picks up Campbell. Are you going to just keep him in the AHL, paying him the rate he is, or are you going to try to make a trade with someone? Obviously, you're going to eat at some cost. You're going to lose some assets if a team takes him over. We have bottom feeder teams that need that kind of that will take his contract. San Jose Sharks, why not take his contract and for assets? It's like it can't be any worse than what's happening there. But it's just, yeah, he's not a bad goalie. It's just Edmonton's not a good defensive team, and they just leave their goalies up to dry and just kind of rely on Draisaitl and McDavid way too much. I guess it's pretty much all I got for them.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. There's rumors flying now that McDavid's upset and talking about trade stuff, and that's flying around there, which I'm not surprised.
I didn't even hear that. I didn't hear that.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, there's stuff floating out there. I don't know if any of it's concrete, but there's obviously frustration, like you talked about. So I don't know if he really does want to be traded, but I'm just saying that there's people out there saying that, this is going on, and, he's not happy and whatnot. Just like you're talking about the Sharks taking on assets. There's a rumor out there, too, about the Ducks taking on assets to make a trade, which I really don't believe that. I heard some rumors about that, and I just don't see that the way the Ducks are doing it right now. I think that they're just going to keep going with what's working. They're 7-5 in these first 12 games. They're right in the middle of the pack in the Pacific. Right now, obviously Vegas up there, Vancouver, and the Kings. Vancouver may be a little bit of a surprise, but I mean they're in the hunt. They're in the wild card with Arizona right now, technically at the time that we're recording this. So I don't see the Ducks doing that unless something really drastically changes. But yeah, San Jose and Edmonton are just having a extremely rough go of it this season. I mean, it's just bad. And then also Chicago's not been playing as well, which, I don't really care. Chicago, to me, is probably one of the worst franchises in the NHL in terms of morality. They had another sexual assault thing come to light recently, and probably nothing will happen of it. Super frustrating on that front. I'm not going to go into the details too much of it because I don't know all the details, but where there's smoke, there's fire, and there's been tons of this stuff that's gone on with this organization that's got swept under the rug, but they somehow still get the first draft pick, and they get Bedard, and nothing happens to them. But Ottawa gets punished for that whole thing with Vegas and us and that trade, losing their draft pick because they weren't sure about a no movement clause. But nothing happens to Chicago, so that's all I really got to add on that. I don't know if you have anything else that you want to add as far as Chicago or any other league news before we kind of wrap up, Eddie.
Yeah, fuck Chicago and fuck the National Hockey League and fuck anyone who had an issue or anyone had any doing covering sexual assault. That's the most disgusting, despicable thing anyone can ever do to another person. And that person, that a victim of it, is never going to be the same. That guy or girl, they're never going to have a normal, insane life because of what someone stole from them and robbed. And I think it's absolutely disgusting that the league does this. It's despicable. It's how they pick and choose favorites, how they rig shit to kind of give Chicago everything they want, because Chicago is one of the top 5, or actually, top 5 teams in the league that generates the most revenue. Probably I think New York's number 1 for the United States, and Chicago be number 2. The rest are Canadian teams, but it's just so disgusting. And then nothing happens. You just slap them on the wrist. You kind of sweep it under the rug. You give them a little fine that they can pay off in pennies or whatever, and then you go and take away a first-round draft pick from the Senators over mistaken paperwork or whatever. It's so stupid. It's dumb how the league does this. And you know what? And you Chicago fans are fucking piece of shits too that defend this and kind of blame it on the victim. And he should have said something before. Or he shouldn't bring it up. You guys are. I'm sorry. I hope your family deals with that shit, because that's fucking disgusting and pitiful. And I have people that experience this, and I know people personally and family members that have to endure being a victim all their lives because of some piece of shit person that took advantage of them. And that's disgusting and despicable. And the league is really trending downward. And honestly, this whole national hockey, watching hockey, is pushing me away from things like this, from them being a political atmosphere for clout. They don't care about your social causes. They don't care about X, Y, and Z. They just post things to get the trending clout, to get more of the clicks, because more clicks mean more money. So this league is just, especially what they're doing with Chicago, it's just disgusting. And I wish everyone involved nothing but the worst debt to all them and their family. And I don't care how that makes me sound. That's how I feel. And I'm not going to backtrack my words on that, because that's absolutely disgusting. No person should be a victim, especially from a sexual predator, period.
Yeah, and this isn't an isolated incident, so it's not like, oh, there was one thing or whatever. There's a bunch of stuff going on there, and Eddie's right. I mean, they've turned a cheek against all the stuff in Chicago. It's ridiculous. Other little
Mike, too. Well, let's go back to Ottawa.
Yeah,
I haven't really dove deep into that, but the Pinto suspension for gambling, like 40,
oh yes,
yeah, oh my God, what the hell? I think we talked about it last show too, but
yes, and it wasn't even on it was
hockey.
On sports, right? Sports, but not hockey.
I guess what the thing was too that I'm hearing is that I guess he had a friend place a bet for him, and he was in a place that wasn't legally to bet on. It's like, for example, I live in California. Sports betting is illegal unless it's horses, which is weird. Right. So if I text my friend Adam that lives in Colorado, where it's legal to make a bet for me on his app, and I get caught doing that, or vice versa, or something like that, that's what he got in trouble for. But it wasn't to do with hockey.
It's kind of wino.
And then listening to the Spit and Chicklets podcast too, I guess the player and the Players Association, they agreed to that suspension. But it still seems excessive. That many games. That's nuts.
Yeah. Half a season.
It's like Evander Kane beats his wife and bets on hockey. He gets what? A slap on the wrist, but
yeah, it's like, and that's kind of the overall theme with some of the stuff that you and I are talking about. It's this unequal justice, basically, with the way things are doing, or even if you don't call it unequal, maybe it's not that. It's just the severity of the offense is not matching the repercussions of the discipline. You know, like you're saying, you know, you kick somebody's ass, a significant other, you sexually assault somebody, and not as much happens, but you know, you go mess up the paperwork on a trade and you lose a draft pick, or you know, you do some kind of inadvertent gambling, whatever, however you want to decide that, and you're out half a season. It's like, wait a second. It's just, it doesn't make sense. And then kind of going into this too, and it'll kind of wrap up the show, is the whole Adam Johnson thing. You know, very, very tragic what happened to him, and sad. But now the league is spinning this into it's an accident, and we all got to wear neck guards and all this. And I'm sitting here going, like, are you guys out of your freaking mind? The other player does like a kung fu flying kick and hits him in the face. If you haven't watched the video, you don't know what I'm talking about. But for those of you that have watched it, as I have, and can stomach it, it's disgusting. And the league takes that and spins it into like, well, all the players have to have neck guards now, and this was a big accident. That was not an accident. I'm sorry. You watch the play, you tell me that that's an accident? No way. Nobody goes to check somebody and turns themselves horizontal, throws their leg, and kicks somebody in the neck area with the skate. That's not an accident. There's no fucking way that was an accident, watching that play. You know, he turned himself sideways, threw himself at the guy, kicked him in the face. But the league saying, oh, it's an accident, and oh, let's worry about neck guards. No, screw that guy that did that. That guy should be criminally prosecuted, which I heard is ongoing right now. So but you're right. You know, taking these things, all these little things that we're talking about as we wrap up the show, that's the thing I don't like about the league, is some of these things, the way that they pick and choose how they're going to address things and whatnot. They're not handling it correctly. I'm with you, Eddie. All these different things, this neck guard thing, gambling thing, domestic abuse, sexual assault. No, there needs to be a change. I mean, you and I've talked about it. Bettman's needed to go for a long time, but you know, I don't know what's going to happen. But I'm with you. I don't like the mismanagement of, like, you know, critical or controversial incidents as these, Eddie.
Yeah, and I think the league is even more disgusting that they're using Adam Johnson's unfortunate death to capitalize and pretty much get new sponsors and revenue just for clout. They're using his death, exploiting his death for money. That's what it is. If they start or if they start making neck guards mandatory, they're gonna have to have a supplier that they're gonna pay and bid for the contract. You're gonna get more money. Players like TJ Oshie, everyone's praising him, and he takes an interview about he's wearing his neck guard for his kids and blah blah blah. Why weren't you wearing your neck guard before? Of a company that makes neck guard shirts that you have, you're wearing your company's product. You didn't wear it before for your kids, but all of a sudden this is national news. This is fully national news, this incident. There's people I hear talking about it that don't even follow hockey that are talking about this incident. So this is just completely viral, blowing up, and you have bottom feeders capitalizing it and exploiting it like the NHL and TJ Oshie. I'm sorry, Mr. USA, but you making this interview saying it's for your kids, but you're promoting your company. Your company's neck guard sold out. Already sold out. So now the league, in their mind, oh, we can get new sponsors. We can get neck guards. We can add sponsors on there. Who's going to be our supplier? How much money they're going to give us? That's just dollar signs to the league. And it's like, I bet you none of that money is going to go to Adam Johnson's family or anything. Because not once have I mentioned TJ Oshie coming out saying, oh, I'm going to donate all the money that I made from my product that sold out, and I'm going to make more. It's probably going to sell out too, being donated to Adam Johnson's family, or a kind of a foundation to go in his cause. No, that money's going right to your pocket. So don't bullshit me and say you're with it for a reason. Come on. I play with stocks, and I'm about money too. I don't exploit the death of people, but I'm going to exploit other things to make my money, and that's exactly what I think TJ Oshie is doing. I know for a fact he's doing it, and the league. And now you have all these other players that are coming out sporting it in practice. You have subliminal things like Bedard wearing all of a sudden a turtleneck coming in. It's just all those things play out, and I know how business is. I own my own business now. I watched my dad run business. I know how he did it. It's just, especially in today's world, when something viral and goes like this, you can capitalize on someone's death, which a lot of people do, unfortunately. And this is what the league's doing. She's doing for his business, and it's just, this was sad to see. And rest in peace. And my biggest condolences to his family and friends, his teammates. I saw the video for the first time. Mike, you sent me the clip of the video, and that's absolutely appalling and disgusting. And I even try to justify the fact how his leg can go in that motion, and I can't. It's just so, like, it's, you call it a freak accident, but I've been leveled numerous times on ice, and I knew how to control my feet. And I'm not a professional. Like, what the hell? And, like, it's just, and the league, like I said, they're making a spectacle of it because they want to incorporate something they can make money on. So I hope you people listening don't think the league gives a shit about player safety. They don't. They're just trying to make, a quick buck, and that's all in their eyes. Look how the league lied to you about the helmet sponsors, and we're gonna do it just to regain the profits from COVID. Bullshit. I called this from the very fucking beginning. Those helmet ads are gonna stay. Next is gonna be jersey ads. And a few people are like, you're just reading into it. They're trying to get the money back from COVID. Blah blah blah. No, come on. I know how these things play. I'm not an idiot. Like, I know how businesses ran. If I didn't know how businesses ran, I wouldn't be keeping my dad's business alive and being successful on that. But it just sucks, Mike. And I'll let you go and weigh on it. I have one more thing of league news I want to close with, more a little positive. So if you want to weigh on that last one, you can.
Yeah, I'm with you. That's the thing I don't like, is them twisting it and turning it into something about promoting a product and doing this, and now all of a sudden they're concerned about and everything like that. Because, I mean, you really see that with the goalies and their neck protectors and their mask, obviously, because they're inside the crease and all that stuff that goes on. But you don't see players flying vertically or horizontally towards other players and kicking them in the face and stuff like that. So to promote your products and get on board with all this stuff, that I don't like that. I think yes, you should have a response to it, and yes, you should say, hey, we may want to do this because of this incident and whatnot. But the downplaying of it as an accident and then trying to pump out this product and sell money. It's just frustrating. I don't like stuff like that. So I'm with you, Eddie. What did you want to wrap up with before we close out?
Well, one more thing about that. Make it optional, not mandatory. Yes. And I'll just kind of leave it at that. So Josh Manson, a name I mean Ducks fans are familiar with. His team, the Avalanche, went on a mom's trip, and they all boarded the plane. They had some shirts in memory of Josh Manson's mother. She passed away, and they all kind of Ryan Johansson, Mr. Turtle. I know Ducks fans don't like him that much, but it was his idea to make a shirt for Manson's mom to kind of honor her of going on a mom's trip. His mom passed away in August, so Mike, you understand this, and I understand this, and you've been my motivator, especially me jumping on the show when my dad passed away. But so you're like, it's just having your teammates and your brothers kind of do something like that from the bottom of their heart. I think that was the most inspirational thing you can ever do. Me reading that and reading the article I read about that, it honestly brought tears. I'm getting teared up right now thinking about it, thinking about my dad and thinking about everyone else that ever lost a parent. But that was just the most, I think, from the bottom of Johansson's heart, he really cared about his teammate and wanted to make his teammate feel included. He knew how hard it was going to be, that he's going to go on a mom's trip without his mom, and I think that was the best thing he can possibly do. And I'm sure Manson really appreciated that, and he felt the love and probably felt his mom presence there with him, and knowing his mom would be smiling about what happened and how the team kind of rallied behind him and her. And I think that was really cool. And I just want to send my love to anyone who's lost a parent. It's just, know what you're going through, and things like stories like that I read that don't get enough attention from the NHL that should. This is one of the reasons why I love being part of hockey. I love playing beer league. I love talking on the podcast, because when it comes down to it, you really have the true brothers and sisters out there that really have your back and care about you. And I love being part of this circle, this small circle we call hockey.
I agree 100%. That's great that they did that. And it's unfortunate. You and I are both same boat. We both lost a parent. We know what it's like. If any of you out there have had that happen to you, can always reach out to us. More than happy to talk about stuff. You're going through a hard time. You want to, grab a cup of coffee or a beer or something. More than happy to do that. It's a big thing. You got to take care of each other. Especially in moments of sadness and loss and things like that. So I'm glad that they were able to do that and honor his mom. I loved it when he was on the team. I hated to see him leave, but I was happy obviously when he won the cup with Colorado and whatnot. But I met him a couple times. Great dude. And I just hope wish him the best with that. And with that, we're going to wrap up. It's been a crazy season so far with the Ducks. If you don't get to a game, you can head out to Noble Ale Works, and we have a discount there. If you talk to them and you order a drink, you tell them DucksNPucks, you can get 15% off. So that's one of our sponsors to look into. We also have a Linktree set up, so Linktree /DucksNPucks. All our stuff's on there. We're doing a bunch of giveaways too. We're giving away some tickets with our buddy Oscar, who's a photographer, for the game coming up on November 17th. So that's going to close out soon on Instagram. Check that out. We've been doing lots of giveaways on there as well. And I'm working on getting some new gear too. Actually, I didn't mention it. I'll hold off. I'll tell you offline, Eddie, because I don't want to ruin the surprise yet. But I'm working on some stuff, some more gear and whatnot to come out. You just reminded me because you were talking about the T-shirts for Manson.
Wait.
Yeah.
We could tell them a little bit. I thought you were going to make DucksNPucks bra, so when they get a hat trick, they could throw it on the ice.
Yeah.
You can see where my mind's going.
especially if Toronto's in town.
Oh, that'd be the best. You know what, dude? I want to give a shout out to Oscar. I know Oscar from the hockey rink. We played hockey together. Really great guy. He's really passionate. Great photographer. He really cares about his work. Beautiful family. A few times you guys haven't noticed, but his family's been featured on the Ducks website. He's taking pictures for the Ducks too, and he's just an overall great guy. And I didn't even know. I haven't talked to him in a while, so I didn't know DucksNPucks was partnering with them until I saw your post. You didn't even tell me, so I'm like mad at you. Didn't let me know. I'm just kidding. No, but it's good to see promoting him, someone that's really passionate about photography and the Ducks. So it's good. Oscar, if you're listening, dude, miss you, brother. Miss playing hockey with you. Hope you're doing well and love seeing your family photos. And until we play hockey again or see each other at a game.
Yeah, and the last thing I want to say, too, is just thank you to everybody out there on X. You guys have blown us up now. We were stuck right below like 20,000 followers. I want to say, man, since like 2019 or 2020 or whatever. I don't even remember, but we've gone over 20,000 followers on X. So I appreciate that. You guys are blowing up. On Instagram, we're getting more followers on there. And we also set up a Discord channel. You can look us up, just Ducks and Pucks, or if not, just DM me on any one of the accounts. Eddie and I will respond. I've got a group going on there where we're talking about hockey news, rumors and stuff like that, posting updates and stuff. Before I post it on social media, I'm posting stuff on there. So you may want to get on the Discord and we can talk about stuff that's going on before the information is out there. Or just to hang out and see what's going on. I know Tom from the UK is on there, our buddy. We've got a good international base of you too as well that follow us, so I appreciate that. And we'll be back, and we'll just keep rolling and see how the Ducks are doing. Exciting times. Thanks for the support, and let's go Ducks.